Welcome to today's Explainer. We are jumping straight into the mind of Vikram Bhatt. If you know Bollywood, you know this guy basically redefined the horror and mystery genre back in the 90s and 2000s. But we're not just doing movie reviews today. No, we're unpacking his deeply personal, honestly kind of fascinating philosophy on fear, the soul, and the supernatural. He believes that every time you watch a scary movie, you shouldn't just leave with a quick thrill. You should walk away with a lingering question, a real sense of fear, and a brand new realization. So let's just get right into it and explore the anatomy of fear. Okay, picture this, because it perfectly sets the stage. Ba is shooting a film at this massive, isolated mansion down in the south of England. Fun fact, a famous paranormal crew had literally just recorded some bizarre activity there a couple of weeks prior. So it's late at night. Ba gets up, walks across this huge empty hall to use the restroom, and as he's walking, he distinctly hears these heavy footsteps right behind him. Now, he just assumes it's his driver, Inder, who usually follows him around. Ba's getting a bit annoyed, right? So he turns around to say, "Hey, I can go to the bathroom alone." And there's absolutely no one there, just complete emptiness. He later asks Inder why he stopped halfway, and Inder tells him he never even set foot in the hall. It's exactly that kind of creeping, unseen presence that fuels Bot's entire cinematic universe. Section 1. The Master of Fear. So, Butt has directed over 40 films, but his relationship with horror is super unique. He has this one foundational rule. You absolutely cannot create true horror unless you are capable of deeply feeling fear yourself. People mix this up all the time. They think courage means being fearless. But Butt argues, no, true courage is acting despite being completely terrified. He uses this fantastic analogy. If courage is just the absence of fear, then it's really no big deal. By that logic, a dinosaur, which supposedly didn't process fear the way we do, would be considered courageous. But it's not. True bravery is standing outside a pitch-black room, feeling absolute terror wash over you, and then choosing to walk inside anyway. It's about conquering the fear, not lacking it. Section 2. The Evolution to Love. Now, you probably wouldn't normally link horror to romance, right? But Patat actually maps out this really profound biological connection between our absolute darkest emotion and our brightest one. Think about it. Fear is primal. Nature hardwired it into us for survival. Even a single-cell organism has a basic instinct to pull away from danger. Because without fear, you wouldn't run from a predator. You'd just die. It's literally the foundation of existence. But here's where it gets interesting. As creatures evolve into higher mammals, think dogs, elephants, lions, they start to experience love. We've all seen those crazy videos of a lion hugging the person who rescued it years ago. So Batat's ultimate takeaway here is that fear is our very first true emotion. And love? Love is just the highest evolution of that fear. When fear is finally conquered, love steps in and takes its place. Section 3. The Everyday's Sixth Sense. Now, you might be thinking, look, I don't go hunting for ghosts in old English mansions, so how does any of this apply to me? Well, Bhatt argues that the supernatural isn't just about ghosts. It's deeply grounded in our normal, everyday reality. Think about this scenario. Your friends invite you over for dinner. You walk into their house, they're smiling, greeting you, playing the perfect toasts. But the literal second you cross the threshold, you instantly feel it, that heavy, awkward tension in the air. You just know, without a doubt, they were having a massive argument right before you rang the bell. Bhatt points out that this ability to gauge invisible energy, it isn't some rare superpower. It's a fundamental human sixth sense. It's the exact same intuitive alarm bell that warns us when someone is standing silently right behind us, or gives us those weird premonitions in our dreams. So how does this everyday feeling connect to the bigger picture? It comes down to a basic law of universal duality. Bhatt draws heavily from the Bhagavad Gita for this, which essentially states we aren't bodies possessing souls, we are eternal souls inhabiting temporary bodies. Now, if you buy into eternal souls and you believe in God, light, and goodness, well, the universe is all about balance. That balance absolutely demands the existence of the dark. You literally can't have the color white without acknowledging black. So if there are good, enlightened souls out there, there absolutely must be dark, malevolent ones too. Section 4. Real paranormal encounters. For Bhatt, these aren't just fun, philosophical, late-night thoughts. These are real, terrifying events. Take this one night, for example. It's exactly 3:15 a.m., and Bhatt's maid frantically starts pounding on his bedroom door. She says there's a woman outside demanding to see him. So he cautiously opens the door, and there is this well-dressed woman holding a young child just crying hysterically, and she begs him for an exorcism. She honestly believed a ghost was after her and her daughter. Because, apparently directing horror movies automatically makes you a certified ghostbuster.
Bott actually had to sit there, calm her down, and gently explain that his films are completely fiction and that she really needed to go get medical help for severe anxiety. It's a wild story, but it perfectly highlights how easily people can blur the lines between cinematic art and raw, desperate reality.
And then you have the actual filming locations. Mukesh Mills in Mumbai is notorious. It's infamous for being intensely haunted. Well, Bott was setting up this tricky top-angle camera shot there, way up high in this eerie abandoned structure. And out of nowhere, he distinctly heard a blood-curdling scream. And the craziest part? It was followed immediately by an unseen voice aggressively commanding someone to shut up. But the most unsettling experience probably happened at Allerton Park in Yorkshire, England, while they were shooting his movie 1920. Now, Bott didn't actually know this at the time, but this place officially ranks among the top 10 most haunted mansions in all of England. They were shooting in November, so it's pitch black by 3:30 p.m. The temperature plunges, and with that cold came this incredibly heavy, suffocating energy. And it wasn't just him. The entire film crew collectively felt this intense, oppressive sensation that they were being watched from the dark corners of the castle. As the director, Bott just had to keep a straight face, keep everyone focused, and casually tell his crew to, just avoid the empty wings of the castle. Section 5. Indian versus Hollywood horror. So how do you take all these deeply unsettling real-world experiences and turn them into box office gold? It actually comes down to a pretty massive cultural divide. Look at Hollywood horror. It usually clocks in right around 90 minutes. It's relentless, relying on pure jump scares, terrifying visuals, and really abrasive, loud sound design. But Pop points out that Indian audiences demand an entirely different art form. You can't just throw jump scares at them for 2 hours straight. Indian horror requires a strong emotional spine, which is usually a really deep, sweeping romance. And it needs beautiful melodic music, not just deafening heavy metal guitars. The audience literally needs that love story to anchor them, just so they can endure the terror. Remember his philosophy from earlier? Love is the evolution of fear. Section 6. The true meaning of horror. All right, this brings us to a twist that's going to completely change how you view this entire genre. It's a simple question, but it totally challenges everything we assume about spooky stories. If the best horror movies, at their absolute core, aren't actually about ghosts or demons or haunted English mansions, then what exactly is terrifying us? What actually is horror?
Well, here is Vikram Bott's ultimate conclusion. The real horror is what you're hiding. Think about it. Every single human being lives a dual existence. There's the person you present to the world, your smile, your job, your perfectly crafted public persona. And then there's the person you are in the absolute dark. The secrets, the fleeting thoughts, the dark impulses that not even your absolute closest friend or your spouse knows about. According to Bott, that hidden dual nature residing inside every single one of us is infinitely more frightening than any ghost. So as we wrap up this explainer, I'm going to leave you with a thought to chew on today. What is the unseen entity lurking in the shadows of your own mind? Thanks for exploring this with me, and I hope this deep dive leaves you with a thrilling new perspective on the anatomy of fear.